Hey guys, John with a little bit more of a low-key kind of secret episode of the Stock Market Secrets podcast. This is one, just kind of a tough message that I don't really publish anywhere else because I just want to share with podcast listeners, just because it's kind of been a really interesting ride, for the past year, and just sort of an interesting revelation that I kind of had today, about building assets because, at the beginning, it's tough to sort of stand out from the crowd or not go, about it the easy way. I was just, sitting with my dad. I just got back from Charlotte with my mom, and, there are these ads on TV for Acorns about investing your spare change and crap like that. And, it's that's kind of how the massive, a lot of people look at investing. It's just this thing to sort of ignore, and building assets is just kind of this side thing. And so by being here and by putting your energy and your focus and your time and your dedication in learning about investing and building assets and creating your savings and retirements, that by itself is just phenomenal. And so I hope that you can kind of get some value out of today's message because it was sort of, I don't know. So let me kind of share with you some of the background behind sort of what just happened and what's going on. Because it's been interesting. I remember, what was it? It was probably, I don't know, a year and a half ago now, which is kind of crazy, maybe almost 2 years to think about. It was kind of when I started writing 9 to Noon and started going on this journey of after 3-4 years of actually investing, turning that experience into education that I could share with masses of people and help them build real savings and retirements, which is why, I do everything here. It's why I do the podcast. It's why I do social media. It's why I, spend all this time of just so much time on these courses and investing so much in these digital assets. Because for me, it's a no-brainer, it's I'm going to change people's lives by empowering them to have quality financial education. And for me, that's huge. That's massive. And so, investing in these assets is huge. But when you're starting out, especially when you, I remember when I was growing up, before, I had been learning about, online marketing and, business assets, for a long time now, for, 3-4 years. But the thing is, you can't accept credit cards until you're 17. And so, all my friends setting up Shopify stores, running Facebook ads and stuff like that. But for me, I wasn't 17. I couldn't set up, I had a business, but you couldn't use a business to set up a Stripe account, unless you were 18. And I didn't want to lie and say it was my dad, which some of my friends did, and they got away with it. But I don't think it's right to lie. I don't think it's right to falsify, your financial statements. And so I have been waiting for years until I turned 18. And I turned 18, I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And so, I've been spending all this time, building, e-commerce.
So the big question is this: how do investors like us, who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements, and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer.
Sorry. So, building, these stores and these businesses, websites and stuff, and being able to set credit cards is a total game changer, right? Because now I can actually learn the game. It's kind of this idea that in Kung Fu or in karate, people, they work. I have a lot of friends that are black belts, and they spend, years getting to that point. And then when you get to that point, they realize that the learning really starts once you actually become a black belt. And then, there's tiers of it and stuff like that. Depends on the kind of fighting or self-defense, but the actual implementation and learning starts once you sort of go through all the basics. And so that's sort of what's been going on this year is I've been learning all the basics before now. Then I finally turned 18. I was oh, it's cool as ever. I can open brokerage accounts on my own. I don't have to listen to my parents or crap, or you have your own access. I finally accept credit cards. And so now it's the point where I'm learning at that top level, which is really, really powerful. But you're not going to win, sort of going back to that karate metaphor, you're not going to win the karate tournament until you're totally pro, level 10 black belt. And so even though you're already super, super high and at the top, there's still, there's a lot to do. There's a far way to go to actually create really tangible, high quality results. And so for me, that's sort of where I'm at right now is I'm working, grinding. And what I want to focus on today is building business assets, and more importantly video assets. So you guys know I've been spending hundreds, thousands of hours on these courses, because like they're insanely crazy and they're going to change people's lives, and like it's so cool. And so, my dad sees this, and what's interesting is like when I was writing 9 to Noon, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I might have. I remember it was like probably 4 or 5 months into the writing process, and he was like, hey, you should just wait until you're in freshman year of college to write a book. Oh, excuse me. Or you shouldn't, you can't finish a book. You shouldn't finish a book. You should do it in college. And obviously I didn't do that because I had hard deadlines and I had medium term goals, and I freaking made it happen. I published the book, made a national bestseller, and freaking crushed it. But like there's always people, right, that are gonna try to kind of pull you down, especially they have their reasons. Sometimes, like usually family just wants to protect you. Other people might have it out for you. So, kind of think about where it's coming from. Most of the time, family, though, they just kind of want to protect you from yourself. And a lot of times, if you want to, create huge results, if you want to have massive returns, like you have to take like high risk with your time, high risk with your energy, high risk with your capital, high risk with your focus, and have the courage to dedicate yourself to something, even if you're not 100% sure on it. Because if you don't go all out on something, like you're not going to create an A-level result. I think this kind of comes down to like work ethic and work quality, and this idea that like, the standards that you hold yourself to. And for me, like I have huge standards. I would never, publish a book or a course or something that I know has like massive flaws in it or a ton of typos or is awfully formatted. Because for me, like A products out the door create A results for clients. And that's sort of the idea with it, right? And that's why, I put so much effort and time and dedication into all this content, and all these courses and the books and everything. Because I know that it pays off, right? I know that when you create the best product, it's the easiest one to sell. And so, anyway, I sort of want to give you that background because something like that, something very similar to that happened just now, and it wasn't like a book, it was with these courses, right? So, he said basically, hey, you've been investing, thousands of hours of your time into these courses at the beginning, here's the interesting part. So, like, you guys know 9 to Noon, like, also thousands of hours of my time because, and experience, like, years of experience. Like, I can't even tell you how much is in that book. It's insane. Like, since it published, like, as of right now, like, I haven't been running ads to it because I was learning about advertising, and then I realized how important it was to have, like, upsells so I could increase average cart value, and how to do, like, free plus shipping so I could share it with more people instead of having to charge, like, $35 on Amazon. And so right now, there's like maybe barely 100 copies sold, even though, and basically all of those copies, a majority of those copies got sold like right when it released, and that's what made it a national bestseller. Because like everybody that knew like snagged a copy and absolutely crushed it with it. But after that, like sales started dying out, and basically what happens is like anytime I meet somebody new, I like tell them my story about investing, and like pretty much like a really, really high percent of the time, almost 100% of the time, like they just go and buy my book. Like I literally will just meet kids and talk to them for like 45 minutes and they'll just go and buy my book. I'll meet like 30-year-olds to just go and buy my book. 35-year-olds, 25-year-olds, like I just talk to them for like an hour and then they just go buy my book. So like I know I have a quality thing. Like I just need to get in front of more people. And so, but I haven't been doing it because I want to finish these courses so I can start running ads, which I'm really hoping to do this month. So like it's tough because when you're starting out, I remember my first portfolio, like you start out with like $500 or something like that. What's interesting is, my goal is like, 10%, make 10% over and over again. And I think I did the math on it, and you have to make 10% 8 times to double your portfolio. And, at the beginning, you're doubling $500, you make a couple $100, and, people laugh at that. They think it sucks, but then you double that again. Now you have $2,000, you double that again, you have 4, you double that again, you have, 8, and it all comes down to the same concept. You're just doubling larger numbers. I remember I tell some of the guys I work with, this position I have just made 73%. And, it was like a $500 position. And, for them, they're like, oh my God, 73%, that's insane. But then it's like the value's not that high because when you're starting out, you don't have millions to start with, right? You have to create that. And so the results, like at the beginning, it's tough because like, that it's there and you can feel with all your might that like it's there and that you have the skills and you like, I don't know, at least for me, like I know that like the assets are worth so much, and the value they'll create is so huge, and like I'm right at the edge of it. I just gotta like do a little bit more work to turn it into a reality. I know so many of my students that like apply what's in 9 to noon. Like literally all they do is read that book, go through the courses that come with it, and like I mean like they're making 5 figures, 6 figures, and like I know like literally like it's crazy because I've been putting a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, a lot of my capital, a lot of my efforts into like this online business stuff for the past year ish. So yeah, about a year, and for me like I just want to have that huge impact, and I know that it'll all pay out. But it's kind of tough to see, like, I could take the short-term stuff. I could just, go and put my time in it, like a minimum wage. Like, my dad's telling me, like, oh, you got to go get, like, you get, like, a minimum wage job and you invest that stuff. But I know, like, there's no chance whatsoever I would have any of the level of impact or growth or scalability that I desire if I did that, and it's like a no-brainer when I have clients that are paying me, hundreds of dollars an hour to go and do that, right? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it only makes sense when you look at it from like a long-term perspective. You look at it from an asset perspective. Going back to what he was talking about today, basically like I haven't started running ads to 9 to noon secrets yet. And so I haven't sold any of my courses because like it's going live like right now. And I got to make the upsell videos like tomorrow so that there's like a video to sell the courses and stuff and whatever. And so like, what's the word for it? It's interim, right? And because like we're finishing the editing very, 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 very soon, like within a week or two, and then it's going to go live. Like basically for the past 8 months, like all the work I've been doing has equated to $0 because obviously there's nobody to buy it yet since it's not like being actively promoted. And so like, what's crazy is like I know that like as soon as it's out there, it's so valuable, it's so huge, it'll change so many people's lives and be worth so much. But until you launch that, or until you start, running the marketing, or until you start fueling the investments, or until you start getting that next level, like especially when you're starting out with assets, the results at the beginning are extraordinarily minimal. And only once you master it and start applying it, do you actually get like geometric results. And at the beginning, it might be slow, but it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows at an exponential rate. And some of you guys probably know like 2 Comma Club. You make $1 million with ClickFunnels, and like that is a huge goal this year. And I know it's right there. And I'm showing my dad this award, and I'm like, dude, you got this is insane. It's a game changer. And he's like telling me about like, oh, it's a scam, oh, blah, 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 it doesn't work. I hear this so often, like people investing in their education, like quality education, like I'm wasting, I don't want to say wasting, but we're dropping like what, 4, 10, 20 grand on like learning math and I don't know, like 4 English classes that I will arguably never use, versus like me personally investing in my own education, real education. And it's this stark contrast between like the traditional ways and the entrepreneurial ways. And it's really tough because when you're starting it's out on this venture on your own, like at the beginning, the results are minimal, but there's so much upside. And, it kind of all comes down to what I talked about yesterday, about having total and complete conviction and belief in what you're doing. And that's really exactly where I am right now. So I want to kind of give you guys an update, a little bit of a tough little, crossroads. And it's something that you're definitely going to hear when you're starting out if you're still with your parents or whatever. I mean, especially if you're in school or in college or whatever, is this idea of, people dragging you down. And even if they don't mean to do it, it just happens. And I'm very, very grateful and very, very thankful for being able to surround myself with very successful mentors, like 100 millionaires that support me, right? Because you look at any successful person, you can surround yourself with any successful person that like really has crushed it. Like there is no doubt in the world, they will support you. They will like support your endeavors and your careers and your pursuits. And so for me, like that has been crucial, especially for belief, like personal belief in myself and my own conviction massively is influenced by surrounding myself with really successful people who are like pushing me and telling me, yes, keep going, you're good. Because successful people will never tell you you're working too hard. Successful people will never tell you that you're going too long without a paycheck, because the wealthiest people on this planet are the people that can go years without getting paid for a project that later on is worth billions of dollars. You look at people that found Twitter, you look at, Bezos. These guys worked literally for, half decades before companies made any money. And where are they now? They're absolutely exploding. Why? Because the assets they built, it was tough at the beginning. And obviously the goal is to create a company that has cash flow on day one, or very, very quickly, which is what I'm working on right now, right? But you have to understand that there's going to be time put in. It's going to be time invested. My dad's talking to me about the value of my time. And he's like, right now, you charge your clients like $500 an hour, and you value your time at $500 an hour. And so you're investing thousands of dollars in this course. It better be worth six figures. And I'm like, I know it is. You just have to put the work in at the beginning. I think we talked about this maybe 2 episodes ago. This idea that, this was the episode with Jake. This idea that, you spend an hour researching an investment, you make the investment, and then you hold it for 4 months and you double your money. You don't double your money until the very, 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 very end when you sell it, the last day. But the work is all done at the beginning. And so you put the work in at the beginning, and then you just chill out and do nothing until the end. And so it's this idea of, planting a bamboo tree. It takes 60 years to grow a bamboo tree. And for the first 60 years, it grows 5 inches. And then in the last 6 weeks, it grows 6 feet. And so does the bamboo tree grow in 60 years, or does it grow in 6 weeks? And the answer is 60 years. But at the beginning, you just don't see it. But once you get to that last little bit, once you actually have everything set up for the perfect end result, that's when you grow 6 feet in 6 weeks. That's when you have exponential results that I'll just only dream of in a very, very, very small period of time. So, I don't know, that's my message for today. Kind of struggling through sort of some just interim, courses getting edited and getting ready to go live with everything. And I'm really excited about it. But there's also this mentality of, delayed gratification. You look at these studies they do on kids that are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. The marshmallow test, if they put a marshmallow in front of them and they say, if you don't eat this marshmallow for 5 minutes, we're going to give you 2 marshmallows. And they can understand, and they speak English or whatever. And they look at the kids who have the self-restraint to not eat the marshmallow for 5 minutes versus the kids who can't hold themselves back and they eat the marshmallow. And then they look at them 20 years later, and the kids that had the self-restraint to not eat the marshmallow, to get the greater reward by delaying their gratification later in life, they had the higher SAT scores. They had the higher paying jobs. They had the better looking wives. They had more success in almost all aspects of their lives unilaterally across the board because they were able to delay gratification. So, deep message for you guys today. Hope you got a lot of value out of it. If you did, I would love. I've got a solid 10 people that listen to this podcast right now, which is very exciting, very influential, but I'd love to grow it a little bit. So, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. So maybe if you got a lot of value out of this, maybe share this podcast with someone that really could, love to get into personal finance and investing, 15 to 35, ready to absolutely crush it and explode. That's message for today. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much, and hopefully it kind of shifts your mindset a little bit about the commitment and the energy and the focus and the effort that it takes to build an asset. Because a lot of times you just see out there all the success stories and all the flashy results and all the money, but there's a lot of work and a lot of effort that goes into it, at least for most people. And so there's a couple people that get super lucky, but it's also, the vast majority that go through the process, that go through the work, that put it in, put in the time, put in the energy. So that's the goal, guys. That's the strat. That's my message. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks. Bye.
Want more stock market secrets? If so, you can get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses that took me years to uncover, completely for free at 9toNoonSecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% daily.